LLM Showdown, fine-tuning, RAG, prompt engineering, or a hybrid approach. What is the secret sauce to your next LLM project? Welcome back. This is Patralik, and today we'll be looking at what is that secret sauce to building a killer LLM augmented product. What is the big decision? When you're building an LLM application, whether it is a brand new application or you're trying to augment your existing product or product suite with LLM, the big decision is, what to choose. So you have different things like fine tuning, you have RAG, you have prompt engineering. So what is it that you have to choose is a big decision. And does it need to have one or the other, or it can be a mixture, a hybrid approach of two or three, and there are some other approaches as well, but we'll be limiting to these three in our current discussion. Now, how do you decide which one is right for you, or what combination is right for you, and who makes that decision? So to make that decision, you have to think of several factors that will be helping you decide which one to choose from. So let's look at the factors first. So the first factor is, your product, is it going to be for a niche area, or it is going to be broad, right? So what is it that you're trying to solve in your current product? Then your data, right? So your data is static or it is dynamic. So the data set on which you're working, is it frequently changing, or it is something more or less static and it's not changing much? So whether the data is static or dynamic, right? So this is second very important factor in choosing which one will go with. The third is what kind of user interaction this product is going to have. Is the user interaction complex, or it's simple? Complex and simple here means a lot of interaction with the system, or it is like just a single touch point or something like that. And on the other side, so these things were your product needs. The second one was your data, and the third one was your user interaction. So I'll just write it as UX. So these are the three things here. And on the other side of the graph, I will be, let me take it blue itself. So on the other side, it is about the normal thing that we have to take into account whenever we are building a product, which is the cost, the scalability, and the resource availability. So these are the other factors that you have to take into account. Now, this resource availability here, it has a lot to do with the human intellectual resources, because if you're trying to do a fine tuning or a RAG or even prompt engineering, you need a very highly specialized skill set, which is not readily available in the market today. So you have to think about whether you have access to that talent pool or not. And that is going to be another very important or crucial factor in deciding what is it that we are going to use. Now let's look at what is fine tuning. So fine tuning is something like, fine tuning is customizing for a specific domain. So you take a pre-trained model, and for a specific domain, you retrain it so that it becomes an expert in that domain. Say, for example, insurance. So you take a general purpose pre-trained model, and then you train it with insurance related terms and all the specific details, so that it can go deep into that uh, into that domain. And that is what we were looking at, then this thing, right? Whether it is niche or it is broad, right? So if you have to make it deep into one particular vertical, fine tuning is something you will be looking at. Again, not just fine tuning, but yes, that is where this product need kicks in. Now, fine tuning, say you bought a car, right? You bought a car. I know it doesn't look like a car. And now you want to go on a long safari, or you want to go and stay in a jungle like region. Now, this car is not going to be conducive for that environment. What will you be doing? What you will be doing is you will be needing bigger tires, right? So you will need bigger wheels. You will need for all your windshields, you will need some kind of grills. You might need much powerful light, right? You might also need a solar panel on top of it, so that your car keeps charging and gives you power, so that you can stay in the jungle. You don't have a charging station there. So this is now a customized version, a fine-tuned version of the car that is going to serve your specific purpose, that this car will go and stay in the jungle with you, right? Now, to do this, a lot of things. You can't just simply take out these small wheels and put a large wheel, right? There isn't enough space there. So you might have to extend the that shaft like thing, so that these wheels are might be 2 inches out of the frame of car. Similarly, you might have to do a lot of welding to put this grill in front of the windshield, right? So what this means is you need a lot of skills to do these kind of things, specialized skills. You need a lot of budget, a lot of money. So this car might be costing you $30,000, and now just to make all these modifications, you might need another 30-40K. So that is another factor, and then it is going to take a lot of time. And once you do this, and now you want to make some more adjustments to it, it might be a lot of rework again. So fine tuning is going to require highly specialized skills, a lot of time, a lot of money, and every time you want to retrain it, make any modifications, that also is going to be costly. So that was your fine tuning, right? So that is fine tuning. What is a RAG? So RAG is a retrieval augmented generation. So here, whatever the LLM is generating is augmented by retrieval. Retrieval means retrieving data from somewhere and then augmenting the result, right? So what exactly does that mean? Retrieval augmented generation. Suppose you're a bank and you have a lot of data related to your customer in your database or table, right? Table. one or multiple tables, right? Now, say you want information, right? And that is why you're building an LLM based solution. So in this, you you were doing something, and now you need information from your database, which is not, and this data has not been put on the LLM because you bought say GPT, Chat GPT, or OpenAI for your purposes. Now OpenAI doesn't have this data, and this data is continuously changing, right? Every day the customer is making transactions, and all those transactions are getting appended on a daily or an hourly or a, in real time. So this data is changing in real time, and this data is not something that is available that was available to the LLM when it was trained. So what do you do? What you do is you build a retrieval system that retrieves data in real time whenever it is required by the LLM or by your application. So since during the generation you are retrieving data from somewhere else and augmenting this, that is why it is called retrieval augmented generation. And this is very helpful whenever you have your own private data, and the data is continuously changing, and that is where this factor comes in. Whether your data is static or dynamic, that is something you need to understand, and then decide what level of retrieval augmentation you want. Can it just be a static table that resides in your application, within your application, or this is dynamic and it will always remain somewhere else, and then you will have to build a really good you will need a really robust retrieval system. So the system that is retrieving data must be fast, efficient, real time, and only then this kind of arrangement will work. So this was RAG. The third one here is prompt engineering. Everyone has heard this term, and everyone is using this to some extent. But why is this important, and why is it written on the board here? It's because these models, you can treat them like an introvert person. So what happens if an introvert person is sitting next to you in the flight, a long flight, right? You can ask that person, and that person will respond, but that information might be in bits and pieces, very small. But if you start talking to that person, building a context, building a reputation, then that person opens up and starts giving you the kind of information that you are looking for. So that is something similar we do with the prompt engineering. So when you are on the prompt, you can type anything. But if you type it in a way that you build a context, you build a persona, and then you ask it some question, that is when you start seeing the real benefits, or the real power of LLMs. And then in prompt engineering, you have a lot of things, a lot of different techniques, like a few of the very common and most used ones are one is like chain of thoughts, right? Chain of thoughts. Now what is this? This is something simpler, methodical. So in chain of thoughts, what happens is in a sequential way, you ask it to solve a problem. So that is something how might be I work. I cannot process a lot of things at a time, so I'll go one step at a time. If I have to add 10 different numbers, I'll do 1 plus 2, and then 2 plus 3, and then the sum of 3 plus 4, and then the sum of plus 5, and in that way, right? There's also this, in a tree format, you can go ahead and explore your answers. In tree of thoughts, it is something like how a chess player thinks. They have a lot of things to think about. They don't have just one sequence, step by step thing to think about. They'll see, okay, my bishop is here, my knight is here, my pawn is here, my rook is here, and now if I make this move, what will the opponent do, and after that what should I be doing? And they will do this with all of those four, five, six pieces that they have, and they will think in like a tree format, right? So different branches going on, and then each branch will again become a node, and they will have different branches and those kind of things, right? So that is tree of thoughts in prompt engineering, and we can use all that when we are doing some advanced prompt engineering techniques, right? Okay, so now we have learned about what is fine tuning, what is RAG, and what is prompt engineering. Now, who should be involved in making a decision what should be there in the next product that we are building? There are a lot of players that have to be in the room, and based on everyone's inputs, you will finally be deciding what goes into the solution. The first one, not the first one, data scientists. So data scientists will have kind of the most knowledge about fine tuning, RAG, prompt engineering, and how whether we should be using this kind of augmentation or not, and all those kind of things, right? And they will be the ones who will be testing different models. So for each of these, there are different models. They'll be testing those different models, and they might already be knowing what models to be tested. So the one important persona to be in the room to make that decision are the data scientists. The next one is DevOps. Now, these people are very important because these people will help you build a scalable solution. If you don't bring them into the room, which many times we do, it's not good. Don't try to add scalability at a later point, and don't assume that everything is going to scale. So bring the DevOps people, DevOps team, right into that room to make those decisions. The third one is your UX team. Again, bring them early into your design phase so that they decide how complex or how simple and what should be the flow and all those things, so the UX team can help you with that. What an engineering team might be thinking of doing in 10 steps can get condensed into might be 4 or 5 steps on the UX, because a lot of things can be taken care by the UX, right? So it's very important that you bring in the UX team also. And then the stakeholders. So here you need stakeholders from both the sides, the business side as well as the tech side, because they are the ones who are going to let you run with the project or drop it. Right? They have the money, they have the resources, so you have to bring in all the stakeholders and get their buy-in. Now you have all the stakeholders, UX team, DevOps, data scientists, everyone in the room or in the decision making process. What do you do next? You start with explore, evaluate, and then decide. So once you have all these people, all these teams, then you start doing the exploration. You explore, you evaluate multiple models, multiple approaches, and then you decide how your solution is going to look like, right? So that is the process you will be following. Now, to make that decision, what all things do you need, right? And how should you document it? So what you will be doing is, let me try to write it here. So you need to have your goal documented. It can be in the form of OKR or whatever. Right? But what is the goal of this whole exploration? Right? What are you trying to evaluate, and how will you decide? So this report is going to help you with that. Then in this you will write, what are the methods you have tested. Methods, and it can be anything, right? It can be your models and all those stuff. um, Third is, what are the key results. So you had a goal, you did some testing. Now from the testing, what are the key results that emerged? So you will document the key results. For documenting the key results, how they should be documented so that it makes sense, these people will be telling that to you. Okay. Then what are the recommendations that came out of this whole process? And these recommendations will be given by data scientists, your DevOps team, your UX team, and even the stakeholders. Now once you have all these things, that is when you make that decision of how your whole system is going to look like. And then based on those results, you will be choosing whether it is going to be fine tuning, or it is going to be RAG, or it is going to be prompt engineering, or it is going to be a hybrid approach. And if that is a hybrid approach, what portion of what is coming into this? And that is how you will be answering, or you will be making that big decision. Right? In the next video, we will take a real world problem and will draw a block diagram to show how this whole thing will go, and how at the end you can come up with the decision of which approach or what hybrid approach you are going to use. Thank you for watching. This is Patralik Satyam. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Please share it with whoever might be benefited. Thanks again. Bye-bye.